Movie night back with another Clitastic. I'm your host, Easy. Welcome to Car Language, and I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start responding to y'all via video. I wish YouTube had that option. They probably don't want to add that feature to YouTube because it's a TikTok thing. But it'd be amazing if you could video response to a lot of people. So come to Christ Jesus, ask me what's my opinion on the ZL1 versus the C8. That is a great question, and it's a question that I've been wanting to answer in multiple ways. Honestly, the C8 has been the fastest car I've ever driven. I know it's not hell of a car to kind of say that I know it's not one of those cars like, when somebody asks you or somebody else that does car reviews, the C8 is nowhere near that. To be like a Lambo, Ferrari, etc. I'm not there yet. But literally the fastest car I've ever driven. Don't let that go over your head. I did 190 miles an hour in that car. And let me tell you, I love that car. The one thing that I did notice, and it's crazy too, because I mentioned it in the video. I actually reviewed one of those cars, and it was when I first started doing YouTube. And if you go watch the video, it's even cringe watching the video because, it's one of my first ones, and my lingo ain't right. I'm trying to get everything right, but it's not coming out right. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the flow of the tongue is not like, in most of my recent videos. And even still, like, I'm still somewhat camera shy. But I love that car. I definitely love that car. And there's one thing that stops me from getting that car, and it's space. And I'm talking about space as far as for people. But the C8 is an all-around best daily. Like for someone who doesn't have baggage, and I mean as far as kids and someone who doesn't do much. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody who's not handy. It's not the car for you, because even in this car, I could go to Lowe's and, I'm not even that handy, but I'm daring. I tend to kind of want to do things myself. So I'll go to Lowe's and buy equipment. What was it that I had in here? I had something. I think I had like a piece of sheetrock or something from Home Depot. I bought tools. I've carried tools in here. The other day I had to change the lug nuts on the car, so I do stuff like that. So the C8, the owner of a C8 is, I don't think he's doing that. And also we need to keep in mind, anybody who does buy a car like that does have, another vehicle like a pickup truck, a SUV. I'm just one of them type of people that I like to force things. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like I'm limited when I go to Sam's. Like, we're gonna be stuffed in here with things. Like, I'm putting a box of Pampers on top of my daughter, my 1-year-old, top of the car seat, all that. I'm forcing. We driving this car, and we're gonna try our best to reach its limits. You know what I'm saying? As far as space goes, that's one thing the C8 is not gonna give you. You got one chair, you got a bit of cubic feet in the front and some in the back, and they executed that. Like, it's very little cars. The only real car that I've seen that's fair in space is the McLaren Touring. It's the one that doesn't look that sporty. It still looks sporty as hell, but it's the Touring one. That one is kind of like a hatchback, and I love that. Oh man, I love that about that car so much. Like, damn, I wish these car makers would think about us. Can you imagine how much more the sales would have been? And I think they should have done that. That would have been a great move from Chevy. As crazy as that sounds right now, but imagine they would have stretched it to where they would have gave it some back seats. One of those back seats where you could just fit a 1-year-old or whatever. As crazy as that sounds, but a lot of people are not going to use it to ride with their 1-year-old. But let's just throw an example out there. You divorce your wife, and you get to keep the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't put a baby seat in a passenger seat. You know, you can't ride with a baby in a 2-seater. You know, so give us the back seat. You know, let it feel unnecessary until that time come where you can use it. And that's always been the thing with buying a C8. Like I said, I went one time I went to go see an M5, and I'm glad I didn't buy it. But the price to a C8 was so like decent. It was like manageable, the ones they had, and then it was like a 2LT. So if y'all want, I'm gonna try to put the link below on the C8 review. Like I said, it's somewhat cringe because it was one of my first videos, but I enjoyed the hell out of that car. When you talk about fuel efficiency, the fuel efficiency on a C8 is way better than this. I promise you, I could count the times that I fueled that car in the 3 days that I had it. I promise you, it was like once a day. The fuel efficiency is amazing on that car. Remember, you gotta, it's naturally aspirated, and they got motors helping the car move the way it moved. I believe it got motors. I'm not too sure. I've forgotten. The only thing that I will say about the C8 that's somewhat of a negative, and I remember Doug DeMuro making a video about this. He was like, eventually the C8 hype is gonna die out. I really thought he was gonna be wrong on that. I was counting on it, but I guess it was the lust and the love that I have for that car so much. Like I said, I fell in love with that car. I met somebody in Miami. I was in Miami with the car, and he rented out cars like, you know, Lambos, 911s, etc., stuff like that. And the C8 was more comfortable as far as like a livable situation than the Lambo was. I actually sat in a Lambo, and I was like, I can't do this, because you feel like you're fixed in place. You know, going back to what Doug DeMuro said as far as the hype dying down, it did. And now you see a lot of C8s out there. You see a lot of them. It's like, I don't know which one I see more. I might be exaggerating when I say this, but I got my moments where I see a C8 more than any other car, at least in Atlanta. So a lot of people are buying them. A lot of people are getting them. I see y'all getting them cheap ones. I definitely don't recommend getting a 1LT. If you're gonna do a C8, you better do a 2LT and above, and that 2LT better have the Z package. You know what I'm saying? You have to have that Z package. The one I drove was, I don't know why they called it the 2LT when it had everything a 3LT had. I think he probably, and this is just me guessing, I'm not too sure, but if you go look at that video, everything was spec'd out to like a 3LT version. You know what I'm saying? I think the 3LT is like all leather, and the 2LT is like a suede and leather mix. That's probably the only difference that one had from the 3LT, but it had the Z package, you know, where it stiffens the suspension better. It had the crazy Bose system. It had the multicolored chairs. You know what I'm saying? It had every option you can think of. You know, it had the color seat belts. Like I said, I just playing around in Chevy, and I'm sure a lot of car guys do this. We'll go on the Chevy app and or online and start, you know, we'll start building cars, you know, just cause. And I did it, and like I said, I remember the difference from a 2LT to a 3LT. The way I built the one I would have got was, I'm like, what am I missing? You know, and I truly forgot. Like I said, it's been a while. I should have did some research before I did this video, but I love the C8. If I want to say, had I not had 2 kids, I probably would have gotten that before this. And a lot of people would talk smack about how these seats are not usable. That is, you know, bull to an extent. If I'm 6 feet, and trust me, I gotta make sure I wear the right sneakers. I will say that, because right now I got on some sneakers my wife gave me, and I'll show y'all real quick. I got some sneakers that my wife gave me, and they add, like, you know, look, this is the sole, and then your foot sits here. So it's like half an inch, a little less than half an inch to where your foot starts. So it's not, you definitely need like a set of sneakers for this car if you're gonna have people sitting behind you. Let me see. I had the baby seat behind me. My other daughter, my little one. She's a year. I had the baby seat behind me. We were fine. Like, as far as that goes. But if I would have had an adult, it would I can't wear these. I would have to wear, some flat sneakers. But kids, fortunate for me, I got daughters. Hopefully they won't grow too tall. They'll reach a plateau, hopefully, because my family is tall, but then my wife's side, they're short. Hopefully they won't get too tall, and we'll be able to make this work. But I would definitely get the C8 over this if I didn't have two kids. If I was single, and I wasn't a person that was really hands-on when it comes to like physical, handy stuff, fixing whatever, mechanical, etc., stuff like that. I think that's the perfect car. And there's a lot of people out there like that. Like me, I'm the type that I'll start a project, I notice I can't finish it or I can't do it, and I'll pay somebody to do it. Silly me, I should have paid somebody in the first place. But like I said, it's just something in me that doesn't let me just pay up somebody up front. Like, I always want to learn. I'm always open to learn new things. And that's how trials and tribulations, that's how you learn. And you find out what you're good at, by those bumps on the road, right? Trying new things. But yeah, I definitely recommend the C8. The C8 to me is gonna go down as one of the best cars I've ever driven. And I'm gonna make a video in regards to that. Like, what are the best cars that I've ever driven? And just spoiler alert, if you've stayed this long, this is the best car to me. Because like I said, it has the room, it's fast, it's everything you would want in a sports car, then some, because of the room, And that's one thing that the C8 won't give you, that extra room for the people. But if they were to stretch that car just for those two extra seats like this, the hell with it. Make it to where, no one can sit back there. Just claim it's 2 seats. Those sales would skyrocket. And they should have did it that way when it came to the C8 Stingray and made the Z06 a 2-seater. I think that would have been crazy, because now people are like, all right, we're gonna get the C8 because it has the 2-seaters, and then you would have had that other crew that would have said, I'm gonna get the Z06 because I know what time it is with the Z06. The Z06, it is what it is. And it has its own motor. It's the first Z06 engine with that engine, and it's just like an all-around exclusive car. So I think you would have had that, you would have had those with the family, you would have had those without. You would have separated the two, and that would have been a great idea. It's kind of like the Supra. I don't mean to drag this video longer, but I think that's why Supra dropped the ball. Like, yo, bro, you went up against the C8. There's no way you would have you was gonna take that W. You should have added 2 seats, because if I'm not mistaken, the one in the first Fast and the Furious, the orange one, Brian's, it had the seats in the back. That one has it, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But look, the new one doesn't. And that was one of them cars where a lot of people were anticipating, but it just didn't meet Toyota's numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I hope car manufacturers watch this video and really think about us, man. Trust me, I would dig myself in a hole, you know what I'm saying, just to have a 4-seater C8. I thought about that. I was like, yo, I wonder what would it take to just stretch it just a little bit. But it's just crazy because that engine is right behind you, you know what I'm saying? So that firewall has to be strong as hell, because you will kill yourself. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Car language. Stay tuned, more content coming soon. Y'all be safe out there. And shout out to Come to Christ Jesus. Stay tuned, bro. Keep on asking them questions. I'm definitely one of those that's in tune with the comments. I don't overlook anything. I stay away from the BS, because BS just adds stress to you. I'm not the type of person to entertain that. And to an extent, on TikTok I will entertain it, but yeah, keep watching, ask questions. If I don't respond to you right away, I will eventually. Give me 2-3 days. Life happens, and we definitely been in, quote unquote, the studio. So peace and love. Y'all be safe.